first catch of the day.
So try to pull it away from the boat a little bit.
Okay.
And bring it up. Slowly, slowly.
What did they bring up from the deep? Look at ocean friends.
If you look closely, there's a couple of jellyfish.
Yeah. There's sea
and little
monkeys.
things. Yeah, there's sea monkeys.
One looks like a feather.
That's a barnacle exoskeleton.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Plankton Hunting 101. We're gonna go inside and look at it under a microscope.
I'm wearing another man's mittens.
How does that make you feel?
What are we going to look at? What are we checking out?
Right here, we're looking at one of our main food sources for our filter feeders in the aquarium here. This is Artemia naupliae, or brine shrimp, or better known as sea monkeys.
Oh, I know them. I know them.
So when you order sea monkeys, that's what you get.
This is what we get. We get the dried cysts. And basically how it works is the adults, they'll carry the eggs on them. And then the water body that they're in will dry up. The adults will dry up, dissolve over time, but the eggs will stay. And so the eggs are then collected, processed, cleaned, sent to us, other aquariums around the world. And then we stick them in this first tower right here, and we grow them for 24 hours. That's enough time to let them hatch and that. And then we drain them down, sift them out, and then put them in this second tower. That's the 48-hour tower.
And everything eats these? Like
Pretty much.
This is the basis
this is
of a lot of...
the low end of the food chain.
All right, beautiful.
All right, Paula, what have you got happening over here?
Well, I'm going to try to show you some of the phytoplankton that we collected.
Okay. So that was what was in our little jar?
By we,
Yeah,
she
so that was
means she
the
and I.
green stuff that we collected afterwards. And I've put it on a slide.
Oh, there's a little bit of movement on there. What are we looking at?
It doesn't look like much, but that's called a diatom, and that's one of the plants, I guess. And there's a few here that you can see.
Yeah.
They're unicellular organisms, and they're primary producers. So just like plants, they do photosynthesis, and they are the ones responsible for producing most of the oxygen that we breathe. They produce way more oxygen than any of the trees in the world. Yes.
Wow. So that's the inside of the jellyfish?
That's the inside of what's known as a comb jelly, or as a gooseberry. And so it's a little round thing that has hairs all over it, and the hairs help it move around.
Here's a large size.
Hairs all over it that help it move around.
You can actually see the hairs moving, and it's moving away from me.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
So let's see if I can find another thing. This little guy right here is called a dinoflagellate, and they are responsible for things like red tide. So in the summer when there's algae blooms, some of the dinoflagellates are red, and they make the water go either kind of orange or red, and that's when you can't eat shellfish, because some of those dinoflagellates have a toxin in them that can start paralyzing your body.
So as they accumulate in warmer waters, whatever it is, they
the shellfish will get a whole bunch of them into their body and metabolize them, and then that toxin passes on to us. And
is that a sign of things being out of balance, or is that just part of a natural cycle?
It's part of a natural cycle. Sometimes if the summers are too warm, then you see a lot more of the red tides. So it could relate a little bit to global warming, but it hasn't been proven just yet.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you so much, you guys. Very cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I like it. The hairs were gross. Oh my God. All right, we've come outside because, well, it's a gorgeous day, and we're going to be talking about an association with the ocean, with communities that stretch back far before the time that Victoria was in this area.
We're joined by Tom Sampson. How are you today, Tom?
Oh, I'm fine, thank you.
So does a place like this, the Shaw Ocean Discovery Center, give you an opportunity to educate people about the connection that you have, that your people have, that we should all have to this, and bridge that gap of understanding of what was here before?
I believe it's a wonderful opportunity to get a hands-on things you can actually touch, see, and feel. Young people need to do that because learning in a school from books,
It's not the same.
It's different. There's no feeling to it.
Now, Tom, maybe you can just tell us a little bit about your people and their connection to the ocean.
Each one of us, all of us, are different from each other, even though they call us Indians or natives or something like that. We are all just different. Every family had its own relationship with the land and the ocean. And because we are closely knitted now with the society in general, we had to find ways in which we could communicate, and one of them is that they began to call us the Salish people, Coast Salish. And Salish in our language means hands. And I guess our people welcome the people with their hands, and naturally they say, well, those people are always like this, so let's call them Salish. My great-grandmother and all the ones before always told us that the humans were last to be created by the Great Spirit. We have to, as a people, no matter where we come from, realize that everything here was in its perfect state at one time. Everything, whether it's the land or the water, the sky, the air, all these at one time were absolutely perfect. It was a perfect world. And then we came along, the last to be created. We've industrialized everything that ever meant anything to us, and including the spiritualism. So all of these have sort of disappeared. But when Angus first came to me and talked to me about these things, when he was still at Pearson College and then eventually here, we talked about how we could make people more aware that there is life out there. It's not just a dead sea. The seals, the salmon, the codfish, everything that lies in the ocean has a legend and a story. Salmon have taught us the way they migrate from one place to another. We learned about their home, where they live in the rivers and in the ocean. That's what I believe this center could do, and will probably do eventually.
Well, Tom, thank you so much.
Marvelous to spend some time with you.
Absolutely.